Hey guys, welcome back to According To. I'm Megan.
And I'm Ciera. Those of you watching the video just got to see me fix my hair before we started.
Sorry, like a second too soon.
Okay, for today's episode, Megan and I thought it'd be fun to talk to you guys about establishing or reestablishing friendships in your 20s, because that's the phase of life that we're in. And I feel like we've been very fulfilled recently, and I know we've talked at length about friendships and lack of friendships and feeling kind of lost on the podcast. And so because we've kind of seen some light, we wanted to share some things with you guys.
Share what we've done, how we kind of like established and cultivated the people we've been hanging out with recently, as well as like just anything related to that.
Yes.
So we will get to that a little bit later. Of course, we like to do weekly spotlights, catch up on whatever we want to catch you guys up on. And then we do our little book update. So I also recently, noticing I'm like, this is like what we're doing for the podcast. I recently noticed that Spotify has started doing this AI generated chapter thing for any and all podcasts. So it's kind of interesting. I was going through seeing how it broke up our podcast episodes, and it's just like, it does a pretty accurate job as far as I could tell. But it was just interesting to see all the different things that like we're talking about and like what it breaks it up into. So that's a side tangent, but
Megan, what's your weekly spotlight?
My weekly spotlight is that the Olympics are back, baby, and I love watching the Olympics. I'm the Olympics biggest fan. I should have.
Olympic
It's in the dryer because I've been wearing it so much. I love watching it. If something's on, I'm watching it. Either it's live or it's replaying primetime stuff.
Like, Peacock is on.
Ideally, I like watching stuff live. However, with a full-time job, it is a little bit harder to make that work. Especially, like, I'm not just, like, working from home and, like, have it on in the background. Like, I would love.
We did have it on today in my therapy gym.
I would love that. My therapy gym doesn't have a TV.
That's a bummer.
There was, like, a couple times I could see stuff, like, in, like, the neighborhoods or common areas. Like, I could see a little bit, but, like, not a lot.
Megan's peeking around the corner.
So
what's going on?
I was getting something from one of my patients' rooms today. I had to get like their walker, and they were in like the common area, and I could see they were getting ready to like hold like the flag up at the end of the men's ceremony. So I was like, oh my god, did they medal? So I was having to like, I was waiting for a second to be like, what happened? So that's how I found out that the men medaled, and I was very excited for them because like I just know historically that has not been. Yeah. Like, they got tough competition, and it's been a little bit of a drought. So I was very excited for them. I have caught bits and pieces of stuff, but I'm excited after we're done podcasting tonight. I'm going to watch primetime coverage.
Full rerun.
And see. They're going to take me through the journey of getting the medal with all of them.
Yeah, it'll be fun. My weekly spotlight is our yarn club get-together that we had last week. And this will probably expand into, like, the episode as well, because our yarn club is basically just like people in book club, but it's yarn club now. Basically, one of our friends, she likes to knit and crochet, and she wanted to like have people from book club get together if they were interested to do like knitting, crocheting, whatever. And so it ended up being 4 of us because like people were busy with stuff. And also, I must say, if you knit or crochet, hats off to you, because we had said like, oh, what's an easy project we can do quick in like one little session. And so our friend was like, oh,
we boosted our egos
a
little too much.
Crochet coaster. I'm like, perfect. Like, I need coasters anyways. And like, if it's easy enough, then like, let's do it. We get there. And like, the video she pulls up, because she's pulling up this YouTube tutorial, this lady's like, I get one of these done in about 10 minutes. And so I'm like, perfect.
And granted, I was looking at the coaster and I was like, you 10 do
minutes.
all of this in 10 minutes? Okay.
And then it plays, I think, the first like 10 seconds.
I like pause. I can hardly see what you're doing with the crochet. What is happening?
So then Abby, that's our friend who knows how to like knit and crochet, she's like, okay, like I will show you how to start this off. And I swear to God, it takes us 10 minutes just for her to like demonstrate the starting knot.
Yeah. And we were humbled quickly. So, and we were like, okay, let's just learn how to like make a chain first. These are the different terms. Yeah. So that was about all we accomplished, was like making chains. And then she was trying to teach us. Then we switched gears. She was like, maybe we try and make like dish rags is what we'll try and do. And like work on chains and like making like a cohesive fabric square. And she showed me, and I thought I was doing this right. She showed how we were in theory supposed to start the second line. And mine just kept making a thicker fat line. So there came a point where we were like, we're time's up here.
Yeah.
We gotta
Time's
go.
up. We gotta go.
And so I left with no finished product, but I am eager to keep trying. And I'm not like demotivated. I'm willing to keep trying it out. I know it's not going to be like the first time I rock it and it makes sense. Tried a little bit of knitting out. I'm open to either. So then I had this bright idea, I thought, to go get like a crochet kit. Originally what I wanted was like, there's this company called Woobles, and they make these little stuffed crochet kits. And I was like, if I could just follow along with that, I think that would maybe be a good idea. I've since been told by a couple other crochet people in my TikTok comments that like I maybe just need to start with like watching some simple YouTube videos to like get the basics down. Because I tried starting to do that crochet kit, and oh my god. First of all, there's no pictures. So they're saying a bunch of words about like a chain, a single crochet together. I was like, what is happening?
It's genuinely like learning a different language.
So then I was looking up YouTube videos on what those things meant, and I was trying to write down a simplified version for me to then remember that this is this.
I think what's most confusing,
and then I was also like the starting of it, I was just like, tell me how to start. It was like just 2 chains, 2 together, and I'm like, what?
I was gonna say the most confusing part for me so far with what we've tried has been like not knowing how everything pieces together. So like when I'm holding stuff, I don't know what I need to hold on to, or what I can let go of, versus like how big should this be, or can it be smaller?
I think what I need to do, which is hard because I feel like to learn the basics, you can't really have like a project in mind. I think you just kind of need to like learn the basics, but that's hard for me to then
like, well, why am I doing this?
Yeah. So I think that's what I need to do first though, and then after that I need to find like a crochet channel. I could probably find one pretty easily, and then I need to follow like a tutorial of like the simplest thing you could possibly think of making, and then work my way up from there. So my crochet kit just might be like, that's my yarn I'm using, and it might not turn into an elephant, which is what it was supposed to be. So
but our friend Abby, she like hosted the little yarn club at her apartment, which is also her first time going to her apartment. It is so cute.
It's very her.
Yeah. And she had like such a cute little setup. We had a little charcuterie board, and she got these little like mini cake things that were actually really good. And it was a good time. We spent quite a bit yapping, which is like it cut down on our yarn club time.
Half the point of these clubs though is to just hang out and yap with the other people you're there with.
So we only had like an hour that we spent actually crocheting and stuff.
Okay, book updates. I have finished reading Play Along, and that is by Liz Tomford. It's the 4th book in the Windy City series. I was trying to think of like where I've read 3 of the 4 Windy City series books. I have not read the first one. I have to say, I think Mile High is still my favorite. That would just hold a special place in my heart.
That's the plain one.
What's the second one?
The Right Move.
The Right Move. I haven't read the Mile High.
So bad at book titles.
The Right Move is my favorite one, as you can tell. And then I think that this one, which is called Play Along, I think it's my second favorite. And then Caught Up is still good. I like that one, but it's probably my 3rd favorite. So I plan on continuing as soon as I finish it. I saw that there's a 5th book eventually coming out in April of next year. Add it to my want to read.
TBR. I am currently reading Riley Sager's The Only One Left. I think I'm going to finish it tonight, which is good. And I am probably...
Did you go in with like any expectations? Do you feel like it's like on par, better than,
I
worse
had no
than?
idea what the book was about. So I feel like... And I've heard like pretty average reviews from it. So I'm kind of expecting a 4-star. That's kind of what I'm anticipating right now. It's like a pretty even keel.
Is it a mystery or thriller, or how would you describe it?
Both.
Okay.
I would say.
So there's like some suspense to it.
Yes.
Is it eerie at all or no?
Well, it's like the premise is, I can give you guys a little brief synopsis. So the main character is a caretaker, and she was like being investigated for one of her previous patients, and like had to be like on leave for 6 months. But then they like say, okay, we're done with the investigation. We're clearing you of any wrongdoing. But there's like still people on the outside. They're like, you might have been cleared, but we're not so sure that we trust you. And so her boss gives her this new caretaking role that no one else wants because it's for someone named Lenora Hope.
Sounding kind of similar to The Housemaid, just initially. It might not be
It's actually not similar at all.
Okay, well, like her
The housemaid?
doesn't in the housemaid she gets a job because
She's
she's
not a
criminal
caretaker.
record.
Well, yeah,
But
I
like,
guess, but
that's the only similarity. And so
okay. Lenora Hope is in her 70s and she lives on.
also, I'm like hidden pictures. That's kind of the same thing too. Basically, these people like have something in their past that is like,
I guess. I mean, that's probably just the author's way of saying this is why they can't get a job anywhere else because
Right.
everyone else would be like, quit. So Lenora Hope is in her 70s. She needs like a full-time caretaker, but supposedly back when she was 17, she murdered her entire family. But like she was never charged with anything, and like
is
the
it like
investigation fell through.
commonly? Is that like
Yeah,
everyone,
there's like
thinks-
everyone within their area. There's like a nursery rhyme basically about like
Okay, awesome.
Lenora Hope grabbed a rope and killed her family. Whatever. It has like this whole thing. It's like almost reached the level of like mythology. That's another word I'm looking
lore,
for. Yeah,
city lore,
maybe.
town lore.
Town lore is probably a better word. And so her previous caretaker left in the night. They don't know what happened to her. So then she gets assigned here. And she's kind of like, while she's taking care of Lenora, trying to uncover, like, did she murder her family? Like, blah, blah, blah. And there's, like, weird stuff going around in the house. So in that sense, there's some eerie stuff going on. To answer your question.
Would you recommend I read it eventually?
Yeah, if you're looking for a mystery thriller. I haven't finished it yet, so we'll see.
we'll see.
I feel like I spoiled it for myself, though. I was flipping through the end to see how many pages it was, and there's like a newspaper clipping at the very end that like had the headline that I was like, I don't think I'm supposed to see that.
Oh.
But we'll see. Anyway, after I finish this book, guys, it's July 29th as we're recording this. There's 2 days left in the month. Do you think I can finish another book? I'm gonna try.
Do you know what you're reading next?
My thought.
You could do All
It's a short
Systems
classic.
Red. Oh.
Because I have on my little book bingo in my journal that I started.
What's like the shortest classic you could think of?
I was looking at stuff. I just added the picture of Dorian Gray to my TBR.
I did see that.
I think it was like 100 something pages.
Okay.
And then Sense and
If
Sensibility
motivated enough, you could.
by Jane Austen is like 270 pages. But I've heard good things about the picture of Dorian Gray. I don't really know what it's about,
I have no idea what it's about.
but you've heard it, right?
Maybe.
Anyway, it's a classic, so I could take it off my book bingo. And if I can read it by the end of the month, then I'll have read 4 books, which is
I
about
just thought
where I
I
wanna
finished
be.
my 5th book, and I realized when I added it to my notes that no, it was just my 4th book, which is fine, but
not where you thought you were.
I thought I was at my 5th book for the month.
You're like patting yourself on the back, like, good job.
Yeah. Ciera wanted to get your guys' input before we move on. She wants to. I was like,
check?
"What was your pulse check?" Is what she was saying.
So Meg and I have had this current according to like the cover art. I mean, this background's the only background we've ever had. Like all of this stuff is a couple years old at this point. And I'm curious. I mean, if we want to change this stuff, we'll change it anyways. But like, I want to
We're just like giving you a
potentially
warning,
change
possibly.
like cover art, maybe get some new photos. I'm open to like
If we wanna
adjusting
adjust
the
our
background. I think that we'll probably keep the same colors.
I like our colors.
So-
Or like they'd be like the same tones, but maybe like a little bit
Like
different.
slightly adjusted. Same colors, maybe different tones.
Yeah.
So,
we
but I
kinda
wanted
just
to know, would you guys like for, if you're a video watcher, we're currently set up in a corner. I know some people do just like a back wall and we could both be like sitting on the couch or something. And like, I know some people like want us to get mic stands and stuff.
Even
So
though
like
we're so used to holding these now.
we could get mic stands, but like, what are your guys' thoughts?
What's your preferred podcast experience or visual? What would be visually pleasing to you?
And then
And auditory, I guess.
secondary to that, Meg and I also run the Instagram for the podcast. Currently, we try to post 4 times a week. I think I want to drop it down to 3 times a week. And we'll probably always do like an episode post of sorts and a reel. But I'm curious, like what, if there's like one other post in the week, what would you guys want to see? Do you want us to do like episode callbacks where it's like, let's say we like mention this whole thing on the podcast, we like do some sort of post related to that. Like let's say we talk about like, oh, these are our favorite places in Des Moines. I don't know when we would do that, but then we do like a slideshow of like all these places. And then it's related to the episode.
Do you
but
like
gives
when
guys
it's
some
just
more
like
insight.
photo dumps of like whatever, not really related? Do you like Canva type of posts
Like
or
little graphics?
do you prefer just normal photos?
Should we do another photo shoot and get some more photos? I mean, we should probably do that anyways.
I know. We have to come up with, and honestly, at this point, I'm like, we should just plan on, like, this is going to be, like, too delayed to get that much input from you guys. But I'm like, we almost need to just, like, this weekend say, we're getting a new podcast cover photo, plan accordingly to get that figured out. We have in the past we've done both going somewhere and having a professional photographer take our photos. That's the one that we have now. And some of our, like, branded photos were from that. However, that was, like, it was 2.5 years ago at this point almost. And so, not that we look that much different, but it is just nice to, like, update and spruce things up a little bit. We could update our YouTube page a little bit, or maybe change how we do thumbnails.
I would love to
possibly
do that. Because I don't love our covers and, like, the banner on the channel.
We could probably do something a little more. I do know, like, I think most people at this point, podcast-wise, people are sticking with the regular photos, and that's what I like. It used to be, like, people would get, like, cartoon versions of themselves. So we're definitely still going to do, like, us on the cover. I just don't know if it's
I picture a blue background maybe.
Okay.
And then I don't know if we're going to change, like, the logo.
Probably, yeah. I feel like if we're updating, we update, you know? So
do we still include the Coke stuff, like Coke imagery?
I don't know. We do have a lot of decor related to it. We don't need to tie it down to that. Like, at this point, I'm open to whatever. I kind of have bits and pieces of, like, stuff, and then I get overwhelmed. Bits and pieces. Then there was a week or two ago, I was really trying to, like, get a mood board going, get possible, like, furniture stuff going for, like, if we were updating the studio stuff, and then I got overwhelmed, and I was just like, okay, forget about it.
Park it, put it away.
But it does need to just happen, so eventually you guys can maybe motivate us to get it going, and we just need to decide. I also am like, what do we wear? Because, like, we're pretty casual people. We had been messing around a little bit with, like, we low-key slayed our, like, photo or our movie themed photo shoot that we did ourselves in our house. So we kind of thought briefly, we're like, should we just use one of these pictures to update our cover photo? But I think we just want, like, we might as well update if we're gonna update. So
yeah,
you know, pajamas are casual, but, like, if we don't do pajamas, I'm just trying to think of, like, what would make sense for us to wear. And yeah, but that's neither here nor there.
You guys don't have to worry about that. We won't put this on your plate. Any other updates? Olympics we covered. Books, podcast updates. Now we're in session.
Okay. So, if you guys are new at all to Ciera and I, we do not make friends easily. Just as, like, a general statement. I would say if we take a look back at our life, through elementary school, we had, like, a couple close friends, but, like, that was about it. Through middle school, we kind of had a smallish friend group, but, like, again, none of these were, like, besties for life. We just kind of, like, made acquaintances and, like, would have people we could hang out with. And then towards the end of high school, I would say we honestly, like, well, we had, like, our gymnastics friends, but, like, they weren't in our grade, and, like, some of them didn't even go to our school. So I would say really towards the end of high school, we honestly, like, were about as friendless as we could have been, possibly. Yeah. Would you say that's a fair statement? Except for, like,
I would agree.
We did have good gymnastics friends, and we saw them frequently. But
like, at school, it was like, I go to school, I go to class, I leave.
Yeah. And obviously, we've always had each other, and I don't think that, like, I think that's a good thing, because, like, we always had each other. But also, you know, some psychologists could probably take a look at this and say, like, that was detrimental to both of you guys, and blah, blah,
blah. It's like the idea that if you're not forced to go out and make friends, and I'm not saying this is the case for every identical twin ever, because there are plenty of identical twins out there who have, like, large or, like, separate friend groups. Mm-hmm. But because we are such great friends and we have always been each other's best friend, it was always like, well, I'm playing with Megan. I don't need to go play with anyone else. Mm-hmm. Like, there was no, like, there wasn't this need or desire or urge to say, like, oh, I've got to go find someone if I want to play with someone. I was like, I have someone. So, and, like, we were very shy growing up, and, like, I think that just kind of continued into, like, me keeping to myself as I got older.
In undergrad also, like, I don't think we made a single friend in undergrad. Mostly, gosh, I'm like, I could go into the depths of my mind if I wanted to, but that's not my plan for this episode.
That's not where I envision this episode going. We'll keep it light.
Yeah. I'm like, let's keep it surface level here. And again, like I knew we didn't have friends in undergrad, but I didn't get like super depressed over this. Like, yes, I wished we could make more friends, but it was always helpful to feel like, okay, at least I have Ciera, for better or worse. And it was weird too, because like initially when I first got to college, like the transition from going to high school to college, especially if you're doing like the traditional kind of Power 5 school experience, is like, oh, you think like just everything's going to change and it's going to be like everything you ever dreamed of and more. You're going to grow out of your shell.
Well,
you're going to make
because
a bunch of new friends, meet
it
new
does
people.
happen to some people.
This is me getting like way too in my head, and which is like just a negative thing that I think negatively impacts my ability to make friends. I get way too in my head and try to think 5 steps ahead without just like living in the moment and being present.
Like during undergrad, this is like a great example. When we first show up to undergrad, everyone's new. Everyone's literally talking to anyone to like try and make any sort of conversation and like meet anyone they can. And like people are adding people's Snapchats and phone numbers. Like it doesn't matter
the more
who.
people you know, the maybe some will stick and maybe some won't.
And I think that was a lot of people's plan, and it probably worked for them. But I was like, well, I don't feel like I would be friends with you, so like I don't care to.
I was like, I'm not really getting a good vibe.
I don't care to talk to you.
And then I would just like immediately shut it down to be like, I'm not really interested in that.
And so that's our bad, obviously.
That is our bad.
But like we even had like not suite mates, I guess, but like we shared a bathroom with these girls like that shared our bathroom, and we like didn't talk to them like literally at all, except for I think one of them came over like the first or second night that we were there and like asked if we were going out, and then I was like, no, I don't think so, and like never heard from her again.
Yeah,
which is no fault of her own, but it was like, oh, that was my shot, I guess.
And then luckily when we got to PT school, we actually did make a solid group of friends.
It was hard off the bat though because of COVID.
It was. COVID did not make it easy at all. I think what's nice too though, and this kind of like, whether I'm not saying it's the best, but I do feel like when we do make friends, we try to make friends that are like
they're deep
connections, and I feel really comfortable with the people we hang out with. And being that like, yes, we didn't have super good friends in undergrad, no friends, but like we developed a good group of friends in PT school. And you know, I feel like when you know that you have like a good connection with someone, you're like, oh, this is easy, and like it makes sense. Like, and I'm not having to try super hard.
I must say, like the friendships that I have established like throughout my life, mostly like high school and beyond, like even if I don't talk to them, I know like if I see them or like, you know, wanted to catch up, then like it would be possible.
Yeah. Even if things go dark, you're like, I could reach back out to you. It'll be fine.
Which hence brings up for book club,
right?
Which is like, I feel like the impetus, is that the right word? Like the start of like our new established friendships.
And I think the reason book club was so good for us as being like the catalyst to starting this and like bringing friends back from the past was because everyone now like is out of college, like our age anyways, like our friends, they're out of college, we're all starting our careers now, and like it is just hard to get things scheduled. You're also probably not like this is a group of people who in other words would not have necessarily like gotten together, but sometimes you want to have like those large group get-togethers, and if you don't have said large friend group, you're kind of like, well, that's not gonna happen. And so I liked that book club. One, I like that, you know, typically they're regularly scheduled. The idea is to meet like once a month. So it's going to be like a scheduled thing that if people care enough to get involved in, they're going to like make an effort to want to do that, hang out, see people. So that's why like it doesn't have to be a book club. It could be a yarn club. It could be a crochet club. It could be movie night. Okay.
And I think why, like, if you guys are trying to implement something like this in your life and you say like, I don't even have a group, like that's the issue.
Guess what? That was our issue.
That was me. And
I was like, I want to do this, but with who?
So that's why I think we had said we wanted to start a book club last year. And then I was like, I genuinely don't even know who I would ask because I don't have any friends. So what ended up happening was I was like, okay, Haley and Maggie, my family are also
by
my
blood,
friends.
you know, start there.
I knew that Haley and Maggie were like, they obviously read and they were also interested in book club, which we had brought up before. And I was like, I need you. I'm Uncle Samming them. I need you for my book club. So I was like, do you guys know of literally anyone at all who would be appropriate for book club? Like, I need them to be a woman around our age and wants to read 1 book a month. That's my only criteria. And you like them. You're vetting them for me. And so they were like, okay, we will like think of people and then come back.
And this is when, as we said, you know, our friends that we make, yes, we maybe weren't in like the best contact with them over the past few years. Like, I'm referring to our gymnastics friends, or like that's how we like met them. We've gone a little MIA, obviously like kept up with them on social media and stuff, and like I would have no issue reaching out. So that's why we did decide to reach out and say, hey, you two, would you like to come join our book club? Would have asked more of our gymnastics friends, but some of them have moved away, so that's sad, but we included who we could. And they were both luckily wanting to join, and so they were in. That's how
so Megan and I we recruited 2 people for book club. And then Maggie says, okay, Maggie has her like group of friends, and then she has like people from college that she knows that we obviously don't know. And so she's like, I have recruited 3 of my friends. Only 2 of them ended up actually joining book club, but
that's fine.
She found 2 people.
Spread the net.
Okay, awesome. And then Haley said, I have no one right now, but then her sister-in-law is joining for the summer
because she's back from college.
So, that's everyone, right? I'm not forgetting anyone.
I believe that's everyone.
And so we had a first get together in February,
and it was more so just like, I was kind of like, I felt like things were gonna mesh pretty well, but like we're bringing in all sorts of different people who haven't met each other. People aren't familiar with one another. So let's just like meet and like establish who's who. How do we know everyone?
It actually worked out, like with the group that we picked specifically, worked out so well because there are so many like small little connections.
Yes, I mean we're all people from around here,
but like people who like were not like initially like they didn't know each other. It's like, oh well, these 2 are both teachers.
Yeah, or these 2 went to like the same school or have mutual friends, or like there's a lot of just like little connections where it's like, oh, you were strangers when you started the book club, and now you actually have like things
or
to
just
talk
like they have
about.
interests that align and they have in common.
So it's been really fun to witness. Literally, like after our first book club, Ciera and I, we closed the door.
Goodbye, everyone.
And we were just like, that could not have gone any better.
Because you're always like nervous bringing in a group of people who,
especially because like we were so like this was like our baby almost a little bit. We were so hopeful that something like this would be sustainable and like people would want to look forward to it as much as we looked forward to it, because it's, you want people to care as much as you care. And so I got the vibe like a lot of people, like I could tell people enjoyed it. I was like, okay, this is good.
And like it went later than we had initially.
Yeah.
I mean, all the book clubs honestly run later. I usually like, put it in my schedule for like 2 hours or so, and they usually always are like 2.5 hours. And then I have to be like, you guys gotta leave because I gotta let Vegas out.
And so we usually schedule the next meeting that we do like at said meeting before, so we can try and figure out when everyone can come next. For the most part, most people have been able to make it most of the time, but sometimes here and there, like a group of 8 or 9 people, like it's hard to find a day all the time. But it's been going well. And like I was further reaffirmed, like at Yarn Club even, one of the people we were with kind of made a comment of like, hopefully like if book club's still going in December, whatever, we should do like a gift swap or something. And then our other friend was like, well, I hope it's still going on in December. Like I really look forward to book club. So that was like just a good affirmation on my end that like other people are enjoying it as much as we are.
And I think within the past few weeks, like obviously we've had book club going for a few months now, but we've started like doing Yarn Club and just like other stuff of like, oh, like, if someone's doing something this weekend or this day and like wants to join, feel free.
It kind of bleeds over a little bit.
It's created like a group where I feel like we have open invites that like Megan and I are last minute people.
We are to a fault. We are so last minute, especially like usually it's on like nights, weekday nights where Ciera and I are deciding like we're going somewhere or we're picking something up for dinner, and like we could just do it with the 2 of us, but sometimes we're like, well, what if someone's might as well busy? See if someone wants to join. It's like 6:15 when we're deciding to do this.
And then we like text someone or call someone. They're like, I'm already eating dinner. It's 6:15.
And we're like, fair enough. We tried.
So it doesn't work out often. But
we are last minute.
There will be like, you know, things that we want to do.
More so like on the fly. I plan things out in advance if I need to, but I'm also just like
you don't know
offer
you're doing
things on the
weekend.
fly.
Yeah.
Too.
I'm thinking of you.
Yes. That's more what it is.
And so it's just nice to feel like, I feel like the group is established enough now where like we can like break down into smaller groups that we're not like the initial groups. If you had to like break everyone up, you know?
You don't have to be like,
you know this person, and you know this person, and you know this person. Like even like, this is like me. I was like nervous because Maggie wasn't going to be
We're doing a book club at the lake. Oh,
and then,
this is separate.
Well, it was like, this reaffirmed my confidence in us being able to do this comfortably. So obviously I said Maggie's in our book club, and she brought a couple of her friends to the book club. And Maggie had previously been to every book club visit. And like everyone gets along well, like when everyone's there. But I was like, if Maggie's like not there, would it be like awkward for like someone to like, is there a gap somewhere? And so Maggie wasn't able to come to our last book club. And both of her friends were. And everything went just fine. Everyone was talking, yapping away, having great conversation. And then Maggie also can't come to the lake house, but like now that she was not at this book club, I was like, honestly, thanks for not coming, because now I'm like, everything will be just fine. But we're doing a lake house like weekend, and so obviously like we're not just spending 2 hours together, we're spending a whole like day and a half together. And so I was like, is everyone gonna be good about chill this? Are we good? Like, but I feel very confident that everyone will have a good time.
Everyone, like, my favorite kinds of people are just people who
can go with the flow and aren't going to be super high strung,
and just go with the flow.
Like, take care of yourself, manage yourself.
Like, it does not all need to be planned out perfectly. Like, we're all going to be fine, because then it's just like everyone's going to have a good time and we'll all get through it. So that's what I think works really well in said group, because all we have planned for the lake right now is
you're to be reading a certain book.
To be reading a certain book. We have carpool kind of planned. I know like there's 2 different days people want to go up, so that should not be like that hard to figure out. And then I know maybe we want to go to like a local bookstore, but other than that, like
we're chilling.
We'll decide as we're there. Hopefully weather works out okay.
Yeah, I haven't really looked. It's been hot lately. I've like stopped styling my hair because it's like not even staying. Like with the one-step styler. I
feel like mine stays pretty well, but like
I feel like it's been so humid that like it just gets like my hair gets wet anyways.
It is so hot.
And then it just gets like that wavy kind of pattern back. Anyway, that was a side note. Continuing the conversation about like friendships in general. What advice can we give people like for starting, like if like let's say either starting a club or like how else can they try to establish friendships?
Online is a good way to like at the very least maybe feel like a sense of community, even if not like developing individual specific friendships. Like if you're really just like looking for like a starting point, you can find, you know, there's like the book talk community, there's different communities for different people.
There are also like pre-established clubs and stuff. Like if it's like you start online but you want to meet in person, there are like libraries do book clubs.
I was
and,
gonna say
other like Facebook groups. Usually, if you search well enough within your area, can find
there's
like established
I'm
clubs.
sure there's like Zoom book clubs if you know, again are kind of wanting like actual interaction with people but don't necessarily have like a local thing that seems feasible to do. You could try a Zoom book club, or like again any club in place of said book club that
and
we're
I feel
about.
like even if you don't see yourself being like a lifelong member of this club, like it's a good way or place to get your foot in the door to just meet a large group of people that you haven't met before. Because I feel like, you know, Bumble BFF is a thing. I think I've tried it. It's been a long time since I've tried it.
I've been on there briefly, but like
I feel like there's a lot of pressure for whatever reason, like trying to like match with one person and like set up a friend date with one person.
Because you're just like, I feel like it's almost harder than like trying to do that for a relationship, because like there's like a huge variety and range of like what can make a friend.
Yeah. Like if you're dating someone and you go on a date and you're like, nah, I don't think so.
Right.
versus like a friend, you're like, why can't we be friends? You know what I mean? It's like almost it hurts more.
That's what I was going to say. It's almost more uncomfortable to like kind of like, if you were to have to reject that person almost, it'd be like, I'm really so sorry.
Right?
It is
like,
not,
you can explain like not vibing with someone like romantically, but being like, I don't think we can be friends, I'd be like, ouch.
Yeah. So I was only on Bumble BFF for like such a brief time.
Yeah. And I don't think I talked to or like messaged anyone.
Yeah.
So not
to say it seemed like there's like nice girls on there. I just was like, I couldn't get past.
Yeah. It just felt weird. And like maybe you guys have found great friends through Bumble BFF. I'm sure people have. That's why it's there. But I was just like, this is too weird for me to like try and go on a friend date with someone.
I've seen a lot of people like, I'm in a couple Facebook groups, Fun on Weekdays. One is like basically the only one I'm in actually.
Yeah.
But like they'll post on there. Again, I can't speak to like me personally, but like if people are moving or just wanting to like see who else is out in their area,
or like you can look at
about themselves.
There's like an Iowa one that I think I'm still technically in. I've never messaged anyone or like met anyone off there, but I would imagine like pages. It would be I think establishing a group setting of some sort is the best way to go about meeting people, because then there's no one-on-one expectation. Like you can like slide in or out easily if you needed to. If you're like, maybe this isn't my group of people, I need to look elsewhere. So like I feel like if you were in one of those groups and you're like, hey, I'm interested in running, does anyone else like to run and like would want to like go running around Grays Lake with me, you know, this weekend? And then maybe you get like a few people interested and you establish a group of like 4 people.
Established run club already.
Yeah. Hence, you got to look for the clubs, and then maybe you could just join. You don't have to set anything up.
Book club. Like I said, I'm not a runner, so I have been avoiding these run clubs
like the plague
at all costs. But I do like books. I can do book club. So you just got to find what works for you and what you're kind of motivated to talk about and like converse with other people about anyways. Because then even if you were to maybe not like the people enough to be like good friends with them, hopefully you're at least like appreciating the fact that you have people you can talk to about something you're interested in.
What do you think has like helped us find like deeper, meaningful friendships versus like surface level, like avoiding those kinds of friendships?
I feel like what really has worked well is like, and the book club's been the good excuse, but it's like we have, you know, we're really good friends with Haley and Maggie. I know we're related, but like they're people who like I trust to also have good, meaningful connections with the people that they quote unquote vetted to join book club. And so I feel like it already, by having it just be like, here's the +1, or like bring the +1, you bring your other good friends, and this is all going to get along well. Like it's just been like everyone has meshed so well. I feel like that would probably be the case if other people were to do the same thing.
I think that part of it is, again, that like comfortability of like knowing maybe I don't know this person, but someone else does, so I trust that, and it's easier to like let your guard down a little bit in those scenarios versus like someone that you've never met before and is a total stranger. Then you're like, I don't know. Like I think the biggest thing for me is knowing, like being like not judgmental and being open to like any and all conversation in like a group or individual setting, because like, and that's again what's hard about if you're literally completely new with someone, you're like, are they truly non-judgmental or are they like,
and you don't know what's like a safe topic of conversation. But like if you're with like a group of people who like, this person knows this one more, I feel like, you know, maybe they lead their conversation already in that direction, and then you're able to join in
and you know
get
it's like
a better
more
idea
of a safe topic. And then just in general, like if you're trying to make friends, and I need to like obviously take this advice myself, like the less judgmental you can be, then the more open people are going to be. And I already said I need to work on that, mostly in terms of like when I'm vetting people, then I'm like, I feel like I'm judgmental, hence why I didn't have any friends in undergrad. Versus like now I feel like the judgment's not there, because like the vibes were already set going into the group.
Yeah, I was like, I don't need to judge you guys, you were already prejudged
by other people that I have judged.
Yeah, which is maybe counteracts your point, but
yeah.
Okay, is this a sufficient podcast length? It's maybe on the shorter side, but I feel like good content in there.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that would be good to throw in as like related content or still?
What's your worst friend breakup? You ever had a friend breakup?
Or
Or like a legit falling out?
not really. I can't think of
any like friend breakups either. I feel like all of my friendships have just been like slow fades.
Yeah.
Like it's usually like the changing of a grade or something, or like friends find new friends and you spend less and less time together. You're not texting as much.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly you're like, we haven't communicated in
Months, years.
So, yeah, I've never had like a legit falling out. You have to watch out for the people who do have like frequent and many friendship fallouts, though. You know what I mean?
Because then you're just like, what are you doing? Causing so much drama.
Because I really feel like there shouldn't be that much.
I feel like really the only thing that
friend
should
drama.
happen is just be slow fading people out.
Right?
For
Like, why are you ruining each other's lives?
Yeah.
You're just people.
I will say there was like, and this wasn't like a specific friendship breakup, and it's probably more so like, I remember in 8th grade, there was someone that was like, there's a new student, and I think they were in my like, I don't know if they were in my advisory or English or whatever, but I was kind of like, I really for some reason felt like intrigued to like befriend this person and like get to know them better. And so we were acquaintances and friends in like the classes that we shared together. And this is not like there was no friendship breakup, but then like I do think it kind of hurt because I think she then like found other closer friends, which like
It's the nature of friendship.
They made probably more sense, I'm sure, being friends than like the two of us did, but it still kind of hurts to be like, this
She'd
didn't
rather
work
sit with
out,
them at
and
lunch
she'd
than
rather,
me.
yeah. But it is what it is. You live and you learn, you grow.
You find your own friends.
Yeah.
Well, I think that'll do it for this episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you have any enlightening information to share about friendship, maybe you have friendship breakups that you can share, we won't judge you. We'll have an episode post for this on our Instagram, which is just @according_to. It's all letters, no numbers.
We will talk to you guys next Thursday.
Bye.
Bye.